Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
Section 1. Introduction. The year 1980 marks a significant moment in the evolution of theoretical physics, particularly concerning the study of hadronic structure. It was then that Yoichiro Nambu, a name synonymous with groundbreaking contributions to field theory and particle physics, published his seminal work, Description of Hadronic Structure. This essay undertakes a rigorous, section-by-section examination of Nambu's work. Its aim is a critical evaluation of the claims presented, the arguments advanced, and the implications those arguments held. We will delve into the specifics of Nambu's theoretical frameworks, the methodological approaches he employed, and the supporting evidence he presented, all with the explicit goal of appraising the internal coherence and lasting significance of his propositions. This analysis concentrates on the internal logic of his arguments, while acknowledging the historical context in which they arose. The legacy of Nambu's work demands this degree of scrutiny, for his influence on our comprehension of the subatomic realm is profound. His insights provided a new perspective on the fundamental constituents of matter and the forces governing their interactions. This exploration acknowledges and assesses the revolutionary impact of his ideas, particularly within the landscape of quantum dynamics at the time of its nascent development. Section 2. Section 1. Introductory remarks on hadronic structure. Nambu's introductory remarks serve as a crucial point of departure. In this section, he established the fundamental problem, a lack of a complete and universally accepted theory of hadronic structure. The essay, in this segment, carefully outlines the challenges physicists were grappling with. One major challenge was the strong interaction, the force holding quarks and gluons, the fundamental constituents of hadrons, together. The difficulties are several. The strong interaction operates at short distances and is characterized by coupling constant. This is the gauge coupling strength, which, in these regimes, is rather large. The concept of asymptotic freedom provided a partial solution. In that picture, the force becomes weak at very high energies or, equivalently, at very small distances. The question of quark confinement, that is, the phenomenon where quarks were never observed as free particles, also played significantly in Nambu's consideration. Nambu directly addresses these fundamental issues in the opening remarks, highlighting the need for a theoretical framework that addresses the diverse properties of hadrons. Nambu's intent is to highlight the difficulties faced by theories such as the quark model. It provides a detailed overview of the primary concepts relevant to the work. These include the notions of quarks and their flavors, the interactions mediated by gluons, and the concept of local color. He then anticipates the subsequent arguments, clarifying the intent of this present study. He introduces the idea of a string-like structure of hadrons. It provided a theoretical basis for understanding the physical system under study. Nambu's initial comments set the stage for a deeper investigation of the structure of hadrons. Section 3. Section 2. The quark model and its limitations. In Section 2, Nambu explores the prevailing paradigm of the time, the quark model. While the quark model, at the point of the article, offered a significant step toward understanding hadronic structure, its limitations were evident. Nambu meticulously reviews the successes of the model. These include the classification of hadrons into families, such as mesons composed of one quark and one antiquark, and baryons, comprised of 3 quarks. He also touches upon the model predictions, such as the existence of specific quark combinations that corresponded to observed particles. Even then, the model had its limitations. These limitations were evident in its inability to fully explain certain phenomena, such as the masses of hadrons. The model did not provide a complete explanation for the dynamics of quarks at low energy. Its inability to describe the binding forces that held quarks together, along with the issue of color charge, which was not well understood, were significant issues. The absence of a robust theoretical framework encompassing confinement was evident. Nambu's critical analysis of the quark model's strengths and weaknesses in this section paves the way for introducing a more sophisticated approach which will be presented later. Section 4, Section 3, the string-like picture of hadrons. The cornerstone of Nambu's contribution resides in Section 3, where he proposes a string-like structure for hadrons. The underlying idea builds upon the success of string theory, initially developed to describe the interactions of hadrons before the advancement of quantum dynamics. Nambu presents the concept of quarks being connected by a string. He emphasizes the characteristics of this string. He proposes that the string has a tension. The tension is a fundamental property of the string, and it determines the relationship between the string's length and its energy. The motion of the quarks, coupled to the vibration of the string, determined the properties of the hadron. The concept of string tension as a fundamental parameter is central to Nambu's argument. The energy stored in the string is proportional to its length, contributing to the mass spectrum of the hadron. Nambu provides an elegant mathematical formalism for understanding the dynamics of the string. The string's motion is described by a relativistic equation of motion. The equation, when solved, allowed for calculating the masses and the spins of the hadrons. This formalism, based on the Lagrangian, provides a direct means to determine the mass of a hadron through the string and its quarks. The string model has interesting implications, particularly for the behavior of quarks. The string provides a mechanism for quark confinement. As quarks attempt to separate, the string's tension provides a restoring force, preventing them from becoming unbound. The section, therefore, presents the string picture as an elegant solution to some of the most pressing problems of hadronic physics at the time, offering a new vocabulary and a new methodology for analyzing the nature of hadrons. Section 5, Section 4. The mass spectrum and spin of hadrons. Section 4 is dedicated to the application of the string model and calculates its consequences. Nambu undertakes a detailed analysis of the mass spectrum of hadrons. He derives the equations that connect the mass, the spin, and the length of the string. This is a significant achievement, as it provides a quantitative means to test the string model against experimental data. Nambu shows how the model can accurately predict the masses of hadrons. He then goes on to discuss the spin of hadrons. The relationship between the spin and the angular momentum of the rotating string is shown. The string model provides a natural explanation for the linear trajectories observed in plots of spin versus mass squared, a feature of hadronic structure that was well known at the time. In this section, Nambu also addresses some of the finer details. This includes the problem of the intercept, a parameter that arises in the theory. Nambu explains that the intercept is related to the ground state of the string and can be connected to the presence of quantum effects. The results are consistent with experimental observations, thus providing crucial support for the string model. Nambu makes the argument that, in specific cases, the string model predicts the existence of excited states. He then demonstrates how the string model can be used to calculate the properties of these excited states, which can be compared with experimental observations. The analytical results provide a compelling validation of the internal claims of the string model. Section 6, Section 5, Interactions and Decay of Hadrons. Section 5 delves into the dynamics of interactions and decays within the string model. Nambu addresses the question of how hadrons interact with each other and how they decay into other particles. The interactions are examined in detail. The string model naturally lends itself to a description of interactions through the interaction of strings. The simplest interaction occurs when two strings join. The interactions are also based on the concept of string splitting and joining. He then discusses how hadrons decay. The key idea is that a string can break, leading to the formation of new particles. The decay rates are calculated by quantifying the probability of string breaking. The section discusses how string breaking is related to the decay width of hadrons. The interaction picture provides a method to formulate predictions. The predictions are then compared with the experimental data. Nambu recognizes the string model is a rather simplified description of reality. He acknowledges that the model does not incorporate all the aspects of particle physics, but this does not negate his basic claims. The string picture provides a natural description of a number of the observed phenomena. These arguments are important, not merely for their predictive power, but for the conceptual framework they offer to model particle interactions. Section 7, Section 6 Comparison with experiment and critical examination. In Section 6, Nambu engages in a careful comparison of his string model predictions with experimental data. He also offers a critical assessment of the model's weaknesses. He presents the results that have been covered in the previous sections. These results include the mass spectrum, the spin of hadrons, and also the interaction and decay rates. He then compares these results with the experimental data. The comparison provides crucial validation for the model. Nambu discusses the successes of the model in explaining the observed properties of the hadrons. He acknowledges any discrepancies between the predictions and the experimental data. He explores the limitations of the model and identifies areas where improvements are needed. One of the limitations is that the model is a simplified description of hadrons. The model neglects certain aspects of quantum chromodynamics. The model does not incorporate all the degrees of freedom of the quarks and gluons. Nambu also mentions that the model requires further refinement. He notes that it will be useful to incorporate the effects of the strong interactions which are not fully accounted for in the model. This section provides a useful insight into the challenges of building a sophisticated theory of particle physics. The comparison with experiment is critical. Even the limitations of the model are informative. Section 8, Section 7 Further developments and future directions. In the final section, Nambu steps back from the details of his model to describe future directions and outline certain theoretical concerns. He acknowledges the exciting developments in particle physics. One of these developments is the advent of quantum chromodynamics. He discusses the relationship between the string model and quantum chromodynamics. While the string model, at its core, is fundamentally different from quantum dynamics, Nambu highlights the possibility of integrating the two different theories. He suggests that the string model can be viewed as a low-energy approximation of quantum chromodynamics. He points out that quantum chromodynamics is a more fundamental theory. This is because it is based on the principle of local gauge invariance. Nambu then addresses the limitations of the string model. He suggests areas for further research. These include the need to develop a more sophisticated model that incorporates the effects of quantum chromodynamics. There is a need to address the problem of quark confinement, which Nambu acknowledges is still a major challenge. The section concludes on a note of cautious optimism. Nambu recognizes that much more work needs to be done to understand the structure of hadrons. He expresses confidence that further research will lead to a deeper understanding of the fundamental constituents of matter and the forces that govern their behavior. This is a testament to his vision. Section 9 The overall impact and legacy of Nambu's work within theoretical physics. Nambu's description of hadronic structure represents a significant contribution to our understanding of the fundamental properties of matter. While it might be claimed that his string model has, in some senses, been superseded by quantum chromodynamics, the legacy of his work is profound. Nambu's insights, with their emphasis on the internal structure of hadrons and their interactions, provided a framework for the development of string theory. The concept of a string-like structure for hadrons, with quarks bound by a string with a tension, offered an elegant solution to the challenge of quark confinement. The model anticipated the concept of the strong force as the primary regulator of interactions. Nambu's mathematical formalism, especially the Lagrangian-based descriptions of string dynamics, laid the groundwork for the future studies of the quantum behavior of the string. His application of the model to calculate the mass spectrum and the spin of hadrons, and his subsequent comparison with experimental data, gave immediate validation to the theoretical claims. The model also facilitated the interpretation of experimental observations and provided a fresh perspective on the strong interactions. His work demonstrated that it was possible to derive physical quantities. He produced results from a relatively simple model. Nambu's ideas have impacted the course of particle physics, he was among the first to consider the role of strings in explaining the properties of hadrons. The implications of his work stretch far beyond the specifics of the model. Section 10, addressing contemporary critiques and interpretations. It is also necessary to consider the critical responses, both contemporary and subsequent, to Nambu's work. At the time of publication, the field witnessed the rise of quantum cryogdynamics QCD. Although, at the beginning, QCD and the string model were regarded as competing theories, various attempts have been made to reconcile the two. The interpretations and critiques of the string model often focused on the need for a closer connection to the underlying physical principles. Nambu's model, while successful in some areas, did not fully incorporate all aspects of the strong interaction. However, this did not detract from the model's value. It provided a simple method for understanding complex relations. Criticism addressed the mathematical complexities involved in describing the interactions between strings. The lack of a consistent theoretical framework for the unification of all forces was also apparent. The string model was later incorporated with some of the aspects of the more comprehensive framework of quantum cryogdynamics. The model's success in predicting the masses and spins of hadrons was not refuted. The model continued to find its use in theoretical studies. The string model served as an important step in the evolution of particle physics. The string model was a means of understanding the underlying properties. Section 11, conclusion. In summation, Yoichiro Nambu's description of hadronic structure is found to be a remarkable contribution to theoretical physics. This is because of its insights into the internal structure of hadrons and their interactions. This essay has provided a detailed, section-by-section evaluation of the work, focusing on the internal claims, the theoretical frameworks, methodological approaches, and supporting evidence. The string picture of hadrons provided a new perspective on the fundamental constituents of matter. This framework offered an explanation to quark confinement, and it provided a means to account for the masses of hadrons and their spins. While subsequent developments, particularly the emergence of quantum cryogdynamics, have refined our understanding, the legacy of Nambu's work remains. His model provided a fresh vocabulary with which to visualize the structure of matter. His insights inspired future research. The essay has also addressed the critical interpretations and their role in shaping our comprehension of Nambu's contribution. This has served to highlight the enduring impact of his ideas. His work stands as a testament to Nambu's intellectual acumen and his capacity to construct a revolutionary framework that shifted the direction of theoretical physics. The paper's significance is that it provided a useful, but simple, framework for thinking about a crucial problem in particle physics, the nature of quarks. His contribution remains a crucial one in the history of particle physics.
We really appreciate you tuning in to this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.